Hello and welcome to Sega News Bits Live. Let's talk about the past week's Sega news. So it's been a pretty interesting, I guess you could say, past 7 days, give or take. Coming in a little late at this, but I definitely wanted to cover some interesting stuff that hit. So most recently, we had the reveal that Xbox backwards compatibility was back on the table. I never liked that they were just like, we're done. That was just kind of shitty of them. But thankfully, they knew they were being shitty because they came back and they announced 76 new games. Unfortunately for Sega fans, it's a small amount of Sega titles and Sega-related titles that made the cut. There are some big ones, though. Binary Domain, the Xbox 360 game, is finally playable on Xbox One and on the Xbox Series consoles. We also have, and I think this is a big one personally, Gun Valkyrie, which was a Smilebit game. Of course, they're very well known for Jet Set Radio Future, Panzer Dragoon Orta. They also did several baseball games, like these big head, little body baseball games in Japan that were very popular but never made it over here. And they also made the game 100 Swords, which was an online, or I believe it was a PC role-playing game. But you know, the one, I think, super obscure title that actually did make it stateside was Gun Valkyrie. I actually tweeted out some information on it. There was a SegaBits article I posted about 6 years ago about how Gun Valkyrie is a very underrated game. It's like an electronic steampunk game. They call it Elecpunk. And it's kind of like Panzer Dragoon, kind of visual sort of feel, but with a little more of a tech vibe. And then I would say it's unfair to say it plays like a Jet Set Radio game because it really doesn't, but it's definitely more fast-paced, action-based. I love it. It's kind of a hard game to get into with the controls because you use the left thumbstick to move around and then you click it in, and that does like a jet boost. And I know you're doing that a lot, and so some people don't like clicking and holding the thumbstick. The good thing is, though, is that the Xbox the new consoles have accessibility options, so I'm sure you could go in there and like change I believe it's called the L3 button to something else. That would actually be really interesting. So I'm going to try that probably after I record this. I'll report back on the SegaBits Twitter account if that's possible, because if that is, that's like kind of a game changer. We also have Otogi and Otogi 2. I've seen some reaction from Japanese fans on this game coming to the Xbox, and it was not published by Sega in Japan. I believe it's a From Software release. And so it's quasi-Sega. It's a Sega-published title in America. I own the first one. The second one I do not. I know the second one's very hard. I mean, it's pretty expensive. Like, disc only is like $60 now. But from some of the reactions to people I've seen online about the game, it's not the best. The camera's really wonky. The enemies are difficult. I guess maybe best you could compare it to is Shinobi for the PS2, which is extremely difficult and kind of difficult to get into, even though it just looks and sounds so cool. The other big bit of news is that there will be a frame boost, and people are already sharing videos of Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations, and Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, as well as Binary Domain and Alien Isolation on the Xbox Series consoles. The big thing is Sonic Unleashed is finally playable in 60 frames per second, or at least a solid frame rate. I know that the Arabat, the like Southeast Asia sort of stage, is very slow. And so it's kind of funny that a 2008 game has finally been able to play on modern consoles. Next bit of news, I'm just going to touch on this briefly. Stephen Colbert had a joke about Idris Elba and Sexy Knuckles on his show. I just thought it was a big deal because you really don't hear about Sonic in the mainstream at all. It's not like they're going to talk about Generations or Colors. I mean, maybe back in the early 90s we might see a joke or two because Sonic was so big, but now I think the best thing that the movies have done is actually bring Sonic to the main stage, where we actually see, like, we've seen Simpsons make a Sonic joke recently. I think SNL might have touched on it. Of course, here Colbert did. But yeah, outside of that, like, I think Tosh Point oh did a speedrunning joke like 6 years ago that I posted about. So, I mean, love or hate The Late Show or any of those shows, but I think it's really awesome to see Sega appearing, even if it's for a joke about sexy Knuckles. So you can check out that video. We have it on the Segabit site, or you can search The Late Show YouTube channel. A little bit of Segabit's news. We had our 100th podcast for the Swing and Report show. That podcast debuted 11 years ago. It was originally hosted by George, who still does podcasts with me. We do the Sega Talk show. Ryan, Aki still works on the site. And so it was just such a privilege and an honor to be the guy who did the 100th episode and really carried us over to that line, to the three-digit episode numbering. So really cool. We had Ken Horowitz of Sega 16 on. He is writing a new book on Bally Midway. He also wrote 2 Sega history books and also a Nintendo history book, and he runs the website sega16.com. He's an awesome guy. Check out that interview. We had a cool bit of news here for Sakura Wars fans. The game Sakura, I love these titles, Sakura Wars GB, Go Forth, Young Cadet. It's been translated into English, so this game has long been Japanese only. So you can now download a patched version of the game and play it on an emulator. It looks cool. There's a trailer. You can check that out if you're a big fan of that. It's always great to see these games getting translations. I'd love to see Sega Gaga finally translated, but I know that's a long project. I also see you in the comments, so I will touch on those as we near the end here. But before we get to the end, we've got Sega trademarking Sonic Frontiers, which is the possible name for the 2022 game. And for the longest time, we've been referring to it as either Sonic 2022, Sonic Project 2022, Sonic Rangers, which was I guess like a leaked working title. But now it really seems like Sonic Frontiers is going to be the title. The reason why I'm so certain about this is because in the past we have seen copyright filings for games, and it most definitely became the final title. What comes to mind is the Valkyria Chronicles, Valkyria Revolution spin-off was leaked through that. There was also Sonic Colors Ultimate, I believe, through a copyright leak. So, I mean, if they're copywriting it, it's pretty much assured. And the big thing here, too, and Lost Judgment, too. I believe that was leaked. So, yeah, what's interesting, though, is in Japanese, it roughly translates to Sonic Frontier. There's no plural there, so I don't know. At least we're not in a Sonic Colors situation where we have 2 spellings of the game. So yeah, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I know in the lead up to Sonic Forces, I was the super optimistic one in a lot of these Sega News Bits videos. George was the pessimistic one. For me, when I was seeing the Forces trailers, I was like, look, they're saying it's from the Colors guys, they're saying it's from the Generations guys. They have references to past games. It looks like they're really going to dip into the lore. This will be like the Sonic Adventure 2 of the modern era, where they're bringing a lot of plots together and really giving us kind of that more Dragon Ball Z kind of story, where it's a little dark but a little fun, a little quirky. It's got these gods and monsters. In the end, it really didn't. I still think Sonic Forces is a decent game. Like, it's built well. It's not a broken game. It's just a badly designed game. Like, the Sonic classic stages are so boring. I remember there was one where there was a platform here and a platform there, and you pretty much, you would take this little like blooper thing, like bloop 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 bloop, like laser thing, to go from this platform to that platform in the most roundabout way, just to like fly around the stage. It was the stupidest thing. The alternate paths were really disappointing too. There were no real fun gimmicks. And then when you go back and play Classic and Generations, it's like night and day. It's so fun. And it really, when I played Classic and Generations, I was like, oh, I'm playing a game from the guys who made the original Sonic games. Like, this feels like it has a bit of that DNA. Unfortunately, that DNA kind of shifted into, I guess, Mania, because Sonic Mania felt like, obviously, like just the successor to the 2D games. And Forces was just such a disappointment in that regard. I did like the Avatar. I thought that was really well implemented. I liked the little gimmicks, the character building. It seemed like they were using a lot of lessons learned maybe in PSO and PSO2 for avatar building and for cosmetics. I thought it was really cool to have Jet Set Radio and I believe Monkey Ball and other representations of Sega franchises there. But talking about Frontiers, I'm cautiously optimistic. I feel like sometimes we get a great Sonic game, then we get a disappointing one, and then they're like, all right, guys, we got to do something. And so they come back and make a good one again. So maybe we're on the good game again. I don't know. Open world, I think, would be really cool. It's something I've been hoping for a while. I think my best... I mean, you look at past Sonic games, and some of my favorite moments were, for example, in the Zelda DLC for Sonic Lost World, where you just had this, like, stage. It wasn't huge, but it was, like, all these little areas to explore and things to do. It wasn't linear, but you really felt like there was a lot of exploration going on, and you still got to utilize Sonic's moveset. Another example that comes to mind is the hubs in Unleashed. Remember when you would, before you went into the action stages, there would be hubs that you would kind of play around in. I thought those were really cool. So I'm hoping that Frontier is kind of like that, where there's just these large, well-designed, mapped-out areas that you can play around in and explore and collect things, and then you can enter more action stage kind of areas. So think Generations map screen, but the map screen in itself is a large 3D level with different areas, and then the stages are these gates that go into more traditional Sonic stages. I think that would be awesome. I would really like to see that. I'm hoping Frontiers is something like that. I kind of like the idea of like making rings, because there was a rumor or a leak that Sonic would run and he would like make a path and then like draw a path around enemies, and when you close that loop, like the enemies in the middle would explode. That's very much like Nights into Dreams, where you would fly around an enemy and then when you complete the circle, they go, you know. I think that would be cool. It'd be utilizing Sonic's running ability as a weapon, which they really haven't done outside of Boost, where it's just like smashing into things, but instead, you know, drawing these paths, maybe the camera shifts to an overhead view so you can have a better idea of what you're doing. I think a reason why they probably will be doing that is they really played that out in the trailer, in that initial trailer where Sonic was making these little paths, and maybe they do different things. Maybe that weird logo that we had for Sonic Frontiers, where it was like a Z and then like a something and then a zero. Maybe those are the shapes that maybe you learn to draw different shapes and do different powers. I don't know. Weird stuff. So let's take a look at the comment section here. We have Tim. He says, hi, I love your channel and content. The Sega Genesis was one of my first video game systems. Anyways, what did you think of Sonic Colors Ultimate? Just like your opinion. Anyways, keep up the good work. Well, thank you, Tim. That's funny. So I reviewed Sonic Colors Ultimate for the site, and I received a review code a week and a half in advance. I had things going on that week of release. I was going to be out of town, so I played the full game through in a matter of like 2 or 3 days. I wrote up the review. I posted it to auto post, and then I went on my vacation. And while I was gone, the game released to the public, and people were freaking out about the Switch version, about some glitches they were finding in, I believe, the PS4 version. I played the Xbox one, though, and I feel like the Xbox version was the one that had the least, if not no problems. I'm pretty sure I played the Xbox version. I'll have to check the site to fact check myself right now. But yeah, it was okay. So I played the PS4 version. So the PS4 version on the PS4 Pro played very well for me. I experienced some audio issues, but I did not realize that they were audio issues until much later after the review, because the only one I experienced was, well, there were two. So the one I experienced was when I completed the stage and it would play that music, the music wouldn't loop. But like, to me, that wasn't like a huge deal. It happened once and I was like, okay, well, what? I didn't hear like a Sonic Colors theme a second time in a row while I'm jumping around the score. Like, that didn't break the game for me. I did point it out in the review, though. The other one was Tails did his little save and he dropped me off, and I could still hear the Tails effect even though he wasn't there anymore. It was like... as soon as I left the area, like I just moved off screen, it went away forever. It didn't come back. That was it. I didn't have any graphical issues, no slowdown. It was just, I had no issues. And then the Switch version had insane amount of issues. And if I was reviewing the Switch version, I most definitely would have given it a very poor score, because I just recently received a Switch version from Sega, and after the patches, it plays much better, but there are some weird things that I did not experience in the PS4 version. So my opinion on Sonic Colors Ultimate I think it should have been delayed so that they could patch it. I think the Switch version, I would not recommend getting that one unless you get it for free. And it's just a shame that happened with the game, because I really want to have more ports. I would love to see Sonic Unleashed Ultimate. It's a shame that most of the Sonic games are locked to Xbox because of their backward... Now, it's not locked to it, but like Xbox is the only place to get almost every single Sonic game on modern hardware. I checked it out, and you basically can play every mainline Sonic game except for Shadow and Heroes on the Xbox, like Xbox One and Xbox Series. If they just brought those over, you would be able to play every title from the Genesis onwards starring Sonic. I mean, outside of Chaotix not being there, but that's not really a Sonic game. That's long answer to that. Tim also says, I loved Lost Judgment. How about you? I'll be honest, I have not played much of it because I still haven't beaten Judgment, but from what I did play, it was very cool. It's just amazing that RGG Studio is able to output such fantastic games. I know George played it. I have George's review up here on screen, and if you check this out, I'll skim to the end, spoiler alert, he gave it a lengthy review, B+. So if you want to hear like the Segabits take on Judgment, you can check out our review there. Let's see. I am not answering that one, Mateus. He said pregnant Rouge. Okay, I mean, she can. She wants to start a family. Johnny says, bring back Sonic's love for chili dogs. Well, I'm not Sega, so I can't do that. But he has a love for chili dogs. They never took it away. They just did a... do I have it here? No, it's somewhere else. They have a chili dog energy drink. And I feel like the chili dog thing has actually come back much more in the modern era, especially in like Japanese games referencing it. I think Unleashed had chili dogs. Tim also says they should make Valkyria Chronicles 5. I think they should too. I don't know how well 4 sold, but that would be great. We have Blue Streak Sonic just saying, hey, what's up? Yes, yeah. I'm realizing now people are commenting on what I was saying. Johnny says, very eager to play Rush Cyberpunk. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. I'll check that out for sure. Got a lot of highs. Hello. I think that's about it. I guess I'll just touch on this. Wesley West says the whole Sega and Xbox things takes me back to when I had an old RCA CRT and I would play JSRF and Sega GT 2002 for hours on end. Yeah. I had that combo disc for years. I think one of the best non-Sega console releases was the Xbox combo with the Controller S and the Sega Jet Set Radio Future Sega GT 2002 2-pack. That was just like such an awesome bundle. Loved it. So yeah, that just about does it for Sega News Bits Live. I do these. I'm trying to do these every week. They kind of land randomly on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like one weekday. So just be on the lookout. Subscribe to Sega Bits. I guess ring that bell. Do they still do that? So you can get notifications of live shows going on. Yeah, expect to see these probably weekly. And then we also have Sega Talk, which is bi-weekly. And then we also have Swing and Report Show, which is our interview show, which is bi-weekly, monthly. You know, I do those as I can. So check it out. We're also on Patreon. You can support us at any level. You can dictate what we cover, and we have new tiers coming up very soon, which will let you kind of take a little more control of, not take control of the channel, but like appear on some of the shows, talk to us, have lots of fun. So that just about does it. Have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you next time.